Um, the Middle East just exploded again, and while everyone's watching missiles and conflict on their TV screens, your retirement savings are being quietly destroyed. And it's happening right now, this month, while you're distracted by the news cycle. I'm going to connect three dots that nobody else is connecting. And by the end of this message, you'll understand why seniors are about to lose more money in the next 60 days than they have in the last 60 years combined. Drop your state in the comments right now. I need to see where my aware viewers are located. And if you spent decades building financial security, hit that subscribe button right now, because what I'm about to reveal affects every single dollar you saved. Here's what's really happening while everyone watches explosions in the Middle East. Oil prices are spiking. You see it at the gas pump every time you fill up. Diesel prices are through the roof. But here's what you don't see on news. When oil spikes, inflation doesn't just go up a little bit, it accelerates exponentially. Your savings account sitting in that bank, it's bleeding value every single day, every single hour. Real inflation, the kind that actually affects what you pay for food and medicine and utilities, is running at 11% right now. Not the 3% or 4% they tell you on television. Not the number the government publishes. 11%. That means your $100,000 in savings loses $11,000 of real purchasing power this year alone. But it gets worse, much worse, because you're not just losing to inflation. The Federal Reserve is completely trapped in a corner. They can't raise interest rates anymore without crashing the economy and throwing millions of people out of work. But they can't lower rates either because inflation's already out of control and lowering rates would make it worse. So they're doing something else, something they're not advertising on the news. They're letting your savings slowly evaporate while pretending everything's fine and under control. November's election is going to accelerate this destruction no matter who wins. Here's why, and this is critical to understand. The federal government is completely broke. $25 trillion in debt. And that debt is growing by $1 trillion every 100 days. Think about that number. $1 trillion every 100 days. They need money desperately. You know who has money sitting in accounts? Retirees. You saved it over 40 years of work. They want it. And they're coming for it in three specific ways that are all ramping up right now this month. First mechanism, and pay attention to this, they're changing the tax codes for retirement accounts starting January 1st, 2026. The proposals floating through Congress right now would force you to take bigger distributions from your IRA or 401k, whether you actually need the money or not. Why would they do this? Because distributions are taxable income. They need your tax dollars to pay for the spending they've already committed to. Wars, programs, bailouts, all of it. One proposal currently being discussed would raise required minimum distributions by 40%. Let me make that real for you. You plan to take out $4,000 a month to live on. Now they're forcing you to take out $5,600, and you pay income taxes on all of it. That extra $1,600 isn't helping you retire comfortably. That's the government harvesting you like a crop, taking your money while it still has value. Second mechanism, and this one's already happening. Medicare premiums are about to spike dramatically. They announced it quietly last week, but it got completely buried under election coverage and Middle East news. Nobody's talking about it. Part B premiums are going up 21% in January. Part D prescription coverage going up 18%. If you're on Medicare, and most of you watching this are, your healthcare costs just jumped by hundreds of dollars per month starting in 60 days. That's real money coming straight out of your savings account every single month. But here's the invisible part that nobody's connecting, and this is diabolical. When your Medicare costs go up by hundreds per month, your Social Security check doesn't magically go up to cover it. Last year, your Social Security check covered your Medicare premiums with a little bit of money left over for other things. This year, next year, you're writing checks out of your savings every single month just to cover the gap between what Social Security pays and what Medicare costs. That gap gets wider every year. This is by design. They knew this would happen when they structured it. Third mechanism, and this should genuinely terrify you if you understand what it means. The United States dollar is being systematically devalued on the world stage, not by accident, not by market forces, on purpose through policy decisions. You're seeing it with BRICS nations, that's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, dropping the dollar for oil transactions. You're seeing it with China and Russia conducting trade in their own currencies instead of dollars. Every single time another country stops using dollars for international trade, the dollars you saved your whole life become worth less on the global market. I looked at the Federal Reserve data. Um, Foreign central banks sold off more U.S. Treasury bonds this quarter than any quarter in recorded history. They're dumping dollars as fast as they legally can. When foreign countries dump dollars, inflation goes up here at home and your savings buy less. It's not complicated economics. It's theft disguised as monetary policy. They're stealing your purchasing power. Now, let me show you how this actually hits you personally with real numbers you can calculate yourself. Let's say you have $200,000 saved up. You thought that was real security. You thought that would last you through retirement if you were careful and didn't waste it. You planned it out. You did the math. Here's the math. They don't show you on those retirement planning calculators. Real inflation at 11% means your 200,000 loses $22,000 in purchasing power this year alone. But you also need to take money out to actually live on. Let's say you need 30,000 a year for basic expenses: food, utilities, insurance, property taxes, medicine, normal life. That's $52,000 gone in year one. Now you're at $148,000. Year two, same inflation rate, same withdrawal rate, you're down to 96,000. Year three, you're at 44,000. By year five, you're completely broke. Zero. And that calculation assumes nothing goes wrong. No emergency, no major car repair, no new roof, no medical crisis, no helping a grandchild, nothing. Your savings that were carefully planned to last you 20 years will be completely gone in 6 or 7 years, maybe less. And November's election makes this worse no matter who wins. I'm not being political here, I'm being mathematical. Democrats want to tax retirement accounts more heavily to fund social programs. Republicans want to cut Social Security benefits to reduce the deficit. Either way, you lose. The only question is which side of your finances they attack first and how much they take. Here's the local angle that nobody's covering on any news channel. Your property taxes are spiking because cities and states are completely broke too. They spent all that federal COVID money like it would last forever. It's gone now, spent. Now they desperately need revenue to keep operating. And you know who the easiest target is? Property owners. Especially senior property owners who can't just pick up and move to another state easily. I personally looked at the data from 30 major cities across the country. The average property tax increase this year alone, 14%. 14% in 1 year. Some places are over 20%. That's thousands of dollars more per year coming out of your fixed savings to keep living in a home you already own. A home you already paid off. Now you're paying for it again through taxes. And next year it'll go up again. Your state is probably raising fees on absolutely everything too. Car registration just went up. License renewals went up. If you hunt or fish, those permits went up. Garbage collection fees went up. Water and sewer fees went up. They're not calling them taxes because calling them taxes would require a public vote. They're calling them fees and just implementing them with no vote required. Death by 1,000 cuts. Each one seems small until you add them all up at the end of the year. Meanwhile, insurance costs are absolutely exploding. Home insurance is up 30% in just the last 2 years. Car insurance up 42%, even if you haven't had an accident or ticket. Health insurance costs we already covered. Every single one of these increases pulls more money from your savings faster than you originally planned for when you retired. That nest egg you calculated would last 15 years is getting drained in 7, and you're just now figuring it out. Here's a real story that makes this all concrete instead of abstract. I personally know a man named Robert who lives in Ohio. He's 74 years old, retired from the factory after 41 years of loyal work, did everything the right way, saved diligently every paycheck, lived below his means, didn't buy stupid stuff, had $300,000 when he retired in 2019, just 6 years ago. You want to know how much Robert has left right now? $82,000. And he's absolutely terrified about his future. He didn't spend that money on luxuries. He didn't blow it on expensive vacations or fancy cars. He didn't gamble it away. It just evaporated through normal life. Higher property taxes every year. Medicare premiums he didn't expect to be so high. Inflation eating away his purchasing power on groceries and gas. Car repairs that cost double what they used to. A new roof he couldn't avoid because the old one was leaking. completely normal life expenses that now cost triple what they cost when he first retired. Robert told me personally that he feels betrayed by the system. He played by all the rules. He saved money when everyone around him was spending everything they made. He was responsible. He trusted the system. And now he's watching his financial security disappear in real time while people on television tell him the economy is doing great and unemployment is low. He knows it's not great. He's living the proof that it's not great. There's what you absolutely need to understand, and I need you to really hear this. October is the last month you can take meaningful action before this accelerates. November's election, whatever the result ends up being, triggers immediate policy changes. December, everyone's distracted by holidays and year-end stuff. January 1st, all the new rules take effect. You have weeks, not months, maybe days. What does taking action actually look like? First, understand that keeping everything in one place is financial suicide right now. Your savings absolutely cannot all be sitting in a traditional savings account earning half of 1% interest while real inflation runs at 11%. You're guaranteeing loss. That's not safety and security. That's slow motion financial destruction. You're losing 10.5% per year guaranteed. Second, understand that what used to be considered safe investments aren't safe anymore. Treasury bonds, the Treasury's bankrupt. Municipal bonds, the municipalities are bankrupt. Money market funds, they're tied to all of the above. The old rules of safe retirement investing were written for a different economy that doesn't exist anymore. That world is gone. Third, understand that the biggest risk to your retirement isn't a dramatic stock market crash that makes the news. It's slow, invisible erosion. It's inflation and fees and taxes and steadily increased costs eating your savings one small bite at a time until you wake up 5 years from now and it's completely gone. That's the real danger. You need to sit down this week and calculate your real burn rate, not what you think you're spending, not what you used to spend, what you're actually spending right now after all taxes, after Medicare, after property taxes, after insurance, after everything. Then calculate how long your actual savings last at that rate with 11% real inflation continuing. The number will genuinely terrify you. Good. Terror motivates action. Comfort leads to destruction.